We're back with Marcia Williams, Leticia Wallace, Eric Sorensen, Angie Normal, and Jonathan Logan, all candidates in the Democratic primary for the Illinois 17th Congressional District. As of this conversation, we have not heard the U.S. Supreme Court's decision about the challenge to a law in Mississippi that bans all abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy with very few medical exceptions. There's the leaked draft decision from May that indicates the court will overturn Roe v. Wade. Democrats in the Senate failed to adopt the Women's Health Protection Act as a preemptive strike to keep most abortions legal. So should abortion be allowed in all circumstances, including late-term abortions? And what line should be drawn when it comes to abortion that could be acceptable to Democrats and Republicans? First up this time is Eric Sorensen.
Well, first things first, we need to understand and stand with the majority of Americans that support a woman's right to choose. In Congress, I will be the communicator that holds the Republicans' feet to the fire so that they understand that they are on the wrong side of history with respect to the fight for abortion. We need to codify a right to an abortion, and everyone should have access to high-quality health care. And yes, abortion is health care. We need to be taking down these barriers between people and their health, not putting barriers up. And I will stand steadfast to make sure that we're getting rid of those barriers. And finally, reproductive care decisions should be made between an individual, their family, their healthcare professional. Lawmakers should not have any place in that.
Marcia Williams, you have a very personal story to tell here. You've been very public that you've had a late-term abortion. Is there ways, though, where it should not be allowed? And in abortion overall, the viability stage is what we hear a lot in terms of legislation. Marcia Williams, you're up.
We need to address that we have a maternal mortality crisis in our country. In comparison to our peer countries, we are 4 to 5 times higher with our maternal mortality. It's worse for women of color. When we talk about late-term abortions, we're talking about women like me. I had to have a late-term abortion to save my life. My son died when I was 38 weeks pregnant due to 2 true knots. And when you talk about a late-term abortion, you're talking about women who want their babies, who prepared for their babies, and had something go wrong. With that said, abortion should be legal in all cases, regardless of if it's a medical reason or if it's a personal life decision. It's a very hard decision for a woman to make. It's not taken lightly, and that decision should be made between herself and her doctor.
All right.
There is no room for the government in the doctor room.
All right, thank you, Marcia Williams. Leticia Wallace, it's your turn on the same question.
Thank you. This impending Roe v. Wade decision is what inspired my former colleagues and myself in 2017 to get rid of the Hyde Amendment in the state of Illinois. We saw that the courts were being stacked by conservatives, and we know that there was a long-term strategy to roll back accessibility to reproductive freedoms. As a woman who had a high-risk pregnancy myself, we have so much more to deal with. We've heard people already discuss the right to choose, how healthcare should be expanded to include reproductive healthcare, how we have a system that really is trying to limit the livelihood, literally the ability to live for some women. Our maternal death rate is abysmal in this country, and we cannot force pregnancy and force people to not be able to choose. Right. Illinois is a safe haven state because of leadership on my part and my former colleagues, and I will work in Congress to codify Roe v. Wade.
Jonathan Logan, the same question. Where is the line to be drawn when it comes to abortion?
Yeah, I think, this is absolutely such a very personal issue between a woman and her doctor. And it's, something that the government needs to stay out of. When you think about politicians getting involved in this, no, this should be between a woman and her doctor. And I definitely agree that this is, some of the positions, these draconian positions that some people are taking across the entire country, they're just unpopular as well. And we ought to, as Americans, support the general sentiment of all Americans and support a woman's right to choose. And then moreover, it's not safe. What we're doing, if Roe v. Wade it is overturned in some of these states. A lot of women and teenagers, they're going to be forced to, take care of a situation in a little more dangerous way. So we need to be able to protect and make sure and defend a woman's right to choose.
All right, we're out of time there. Angie Normal, you're going to round out this round of questioning regarding abortion. Any compromise areas that you think can be made here?
Well, 60% or more than 60% of Americans do support the right to choose. And we need to keep that in mind when we're discussing abortion. And the other concern that I have, my husband is a physician, that we are moving towards a space where we are practicing medicine by legislation, and every case is individual. Every case is different, as we've seen from stories that have even been shared just right here. And it's my fear that women will die and that they will be at risk of going to jail for seeking health care. So my approach is to expand the availability and legality of the full spectrum of reproductive health care, because if people can get reproductive health care in the form of birth control, that just eliminates the danger of the situations that we're talking about. So I think we need a full spectrum of care for all women in this country, which would also address our mortality issues as well.
All right, going to call time there. And we'll take another quick break from the discussion. We're not done with these Democrats hoping to be on the November ballot for a chance to work on Capitol Hill. Another big issue to talk about next, gun violence and the new bipartisan legislation on its way to the president, where they stand. For the record.